has been one day of practice at training camp. So clearly I'm not here to hand out any gold jackets or anything of that sort. All right. And yeah, I'll be honest, maybe what I'm about to say is maybe there's a little bit of confirmation bias baked in. All right. But I really don't think I'm reaching here. I'm not grasping at straws or anything. I'm just going off of our previous speculation, things that we've already discussed, the research and the work that's already been done, and then using my eyeballs. DallasCowboys.com, they posted their training camp live, kicking things off, and it's about 20 plus minutes of team period, offense versus defense. And there's a lot of things I was keying in on, but one thing that you can't help but notice, regardless of who you are, is the speed and the effectiveness of KaVontae Turpin when he touches the football. But not just any touch of the football, okay? A very specific type of touch. One that involves him doing so while being stationary, lined up in the backfield. Okay? The highest paid special teams player in the National Football League right now, KaVontae Turpin, might definitely be a little bit more than that. All right. Running back 3. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, day 1 of camp. Running back 1 and 2, whoever leads the team and carries at the running back position at the end of the year is anybody's guess. There's a handful of guys that are all going to have a viable case. And yes, that it does include Deuce Vaughn. But what I'm here to say today is KaVontae Turpin on any given Sunday will be RB3. Just a quick 20-minute watch, right? I've seen all that I needed to see. I saw enough to know that our preconceived notions regarding the transition, what they figured out once Brian Schottenheimer had a little bit more control of the offense and the play calling towards the end of the season, very important, that trend continuing. What was that trend? The first 7 carries, I just did 5. I don't know why I just did that. The first 7 carries of the season for KaVontae last year were one specific type. End arounds, jet sweeps, reverses, those types of things. Okay? The final 5 carries where his yards per carry total went from about 3 for the first 7 to almost 10 for the ensuing 5. A nuance, a seemingly small but incredibly significant detail. One thing that Brian Schottenheimer figured out, surely with the help of others, okay? But still, he's the guy who had the biggest hand in it last year, who is still around this year. Shotty did something, and he unlocked an ability of KaVontae Turpin, a superpower, a secret superpower of his. And my hypothesis as to why that is, and we're gonna refresh our memory on why this is so significant. Okay, what exactly is it? Why does it matter about how he's getting the football? It's not just put the ball in his hands and let him go, run fast. It sounds great, but putting him in the backfield, in my opinion, and I'd love to ask KaVontae Turpin this. Maybe I will if I get a chance next weekend this coming weekend whenever I'm there. Handing him the football going north and south much more closely simulates what he sees as a return man. It's a much closer simulation. He sees it better because that's what he's used to. That's his skill set, his superpower. find the crease, get skinny, hit it, and run fast. Okay, saw quite a few zone stretch concepts when handing him the football on those clips that I'm referring to here. But we got to remember, guys, this is the fastest ball carrier in the league last year. Really dating back the last 4 years. Only one other guy has eclipsed that total. And that's Raheem Mostert of formerly of the Miami Dolphins. Just had a stroke right there. I'm sorry, guys. Now currently with the Vegas Raiders. And then there's actually one more guy who wasn't in the league at the time, so he technically doesn't count, but it's Jaden Blue who has eclipsed that same mark. It's more than just, hey, KaVontae, run as fast as you can and catch this football. You can simulate his abilities, his superpowers, at the running back position too. Okay. Handing him the football going sideline to sideline, east to west, doesn't allow the fastest ball carrier in the league to be the fastest ball carrier in the league because he's running sideline to sideline. On top of that, it's not necessarily what he's used to seeing. And on top of that, thing 3, the trifecta here. The evolution of football. It's the conversation that I had with Vach. Sort of ties everything all together. It's modern defenses, the way that they have countered the modern offenses' speed adjustment. The more pass-heavy NFL. Spread, speed, tempo. Defenses had to get lighter, faster, more athletic. They did that. So now the pendulum's swinging in the opposite direction. But needless to say, linebackers are running 4.3s nowadays. And a lot of times defenses have 5, sometimes 6 DBs on the field. So KaVontae's sideline to sideline effectiveness is neutralized much more so than it otherwise would have been. That's the third component here. Okay? But it even goes a little bit deeper than that. The significance of that skill set. My hypothesis, the RB3 for this Dallas Cowboys roster on any given Sunday, 3-year extension, $18 million. Yes, some off-the-field stuff to consider here. I'm not naive to those situations. I've discussed them, as a matter of fact, on this channel. But the difference is incredibly significant for him. It works. And Schotty is continuing that trend. Albeit just day 1 of practice. But this is sort of, there's already verifiable evidence. Okay, and we're seeing a little bit more of it now. This should be very exciting. This fires me up. And seeing CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and sometimes even Jaden Blue out there, once again, 2 of the fastest clocked ball carriers in the last 4 years. 2 of the 3 are on the same roster. This offense can have a lot of fun so long as they stay healthy and figure out a way, which Clayton Adams and Connor Riley were hired to do, which is solve the how. Be more nuanced with their approach to running the football. The who at the position, whether that be Blue, Maffa, Williams, Sanders, or Vaughn, or Lipke, or Turpin, matters much less. If you get that up front, your run game philosophy solved. Modernize it with motion, and then have a lot more play action off of it. These are all things that we're already seeing, guys. It's on YouTube for you right now. You can watch it. DallasCowboys.com posted 20 plus minutes, like I mentioned. Okay. That, and let's take a listen. Let's refresh our memory just a little bit more on just why and how significant this is. His most significant impact in 2024 could come from the backfield. Damn! It sounds bold, sounds hot, like a hot take even. I promise you it's not. And let me show you why, okay? In 2024, KaVontae Turpin's first 7 carries of the season were exactly what you'd expect, right? Jet sweeps, end arounds, motion plays from the slot, that whole thing, okay? It's east-west concept stuff, just designed to get him to the edge, to the perimeter, just in space, okay? But that result, end arounds and jet sweeps, I had every single clip, by the way, posted, but Twitter actually locked my account until I deleted it because I guess they don't like that many consecutive plays in a row of a paywall source, right? The NFL Plus Pro, where you can take a look at the all 22 film and stuff like that. So I'll figure out a way to get that to y'all to show you, to better contextualize exactly what I'm saying. But just know the result of those jet sweeps and end arounds, his first 7 carries of the season, netted 21 total yards at 3 yards per carry. Okay, 3 yards per carry is about as bad as you can possibly be in the NFL. The standard is about 4.5. That's average. And just also, by the way, something, just a little pill, a hard to swallow pill for the Dak Prescott critics and naysayers to swallow. And once again, he's certainly not innocent, okay? But my issue is that people only blame him when it's a collective effort here, the ultimate team sport. The Cowboys, in their 3 most recent playoff losses, 2 to the Niners, 1 to the Packers, all 3, a cumulative roughly 3 yards per carry in those 3 losses. Okay, be pissed at Dak all you want, but just acknowledge or be willing to look at the sum of its parts. The ultimate team sport. Okay. Anyway, 21 yards per carry, 3 yards total for KaVontae Turpin's first 7 carries of the season. Cowboys noticed this. It's part of having your analytics staff, part of having a forward-thinking offensive coordinator who's now potentially your head coach. Turpin's next 5 carries came from a different look entirely. All right, he lined up in the backfield more. So it wasn't this motioning from the slot, like a shallow motion and pre and at snap motion from the slot, getting him the ball on the move. It was, no, let's just have him actually in the backfield, giving him a 2-way go. That's part of the frustration with having Dak in the gun with the running back next to him, is that you are sort of eliminating one side of the field that you could potentially run to. So you're reducing the guessing game for the defense to some extent. That's part of the frustration. But like I said, we're going to dive more into that. Okay, his next 5 carries, they put him in the backfield, more traditional handoffs, attacking north and south of setting instead of trying to race to the sideline. What happened? 9.6 yards per carry. When he's facing the defense. All right, let me get this off the screen. It's a much closer simulation to what he sees in the return game. He's not running sideways when he's catching punts and kicks. No. He's facing this way, with his momentum going that direction. This discussion here plays directly into the Deuce Vaughn take that I have as well. I've tried to explain this in the past. I need to do a better job of touching on it probably. The league, it's a constant, ever-evolving chess match, right? The defense is pivoted to keep up with the modern spread and tempo systems, aerial attacks. Heavy emphasis on quarterback and passing game. Defenses had to counter that with smaller, able-bodied, more able-bodied coverage men, more DBs on the field, oftentimes. Lighter, faster, more athletic linebackers, edge players that can chase, track, sometimes drop into coverage. So the sideline to sideline stuff that used to work when you put a 4-2 athlete, get him the ball and coming around the edge, it used to be more effective than it is today. There's a line of delineation. That trend began to switch, to shift about 2016-ish. Like the explosive offenses, it's been a steady decline. Explosive plays in the National Football League were peaked all time in 2014. It's been a steady decline ever since. Why? Because defenses are catching up. That's why I've been so emphatic about the Cowboys changing their philosophy, their identity into a physical approach. Modern spread, quick game into the flat, that stuff, the whole old school West Coast philosophies, quick slants, speed outs, and stops. That stuff doesn't work anymore, or as well as it used to. It's effective, and there's obviously a time and a place, but that can't be your foundation. Not now, not in 2024, 2023, 2022. You've got to have an identity on the ground. Heavy personnel, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle. Receivers that can block, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Think of the 49ers. Think about the Rams, what Cooper Kupp was known for. He was an extension of the offensive line, right? One of the better blocking and most willing run blockers in the game. You can't play for Sean McVay if you can't dig people out of the edge. Puka Nacua, same thing. Okay, the evolution, right? Pendulum swinging back. I'm going to try to sum this up quickly. Physicality, run game, bigger bodies. So offenses are now countering the defense's counter of getting lighter, faster, more athletic in coverage. So teams now are starting to say, okay, let's pivot back. Offenses, I mean. 2 tight ends. Downhill rushing attack. Receivers who can block. All that stuff, guys. You'll see that reflected in my offense roster or starting lineup roster projection. It's already out on CowboysCountry.com. Brevin Spanford is in my lineup as a starter over Luke Schoonmaker. Luke Schoonmaker doesn't have a sponsor in the building anymore. Brevin doesn't either, but that just goes to show you politics aren't going to play a role in who is starting, who is touching the football, who is seeing the most snaps. Not with this coaching staff. Creating competition, that was first and foremost. If politics played a part, we would all just, the Cowboys Nation would have said Brock Hoffman's the answer at right guard to replace a Hall of Famer. And y'all would have laughed at me for everything that I said in response to that. Okay, KaVontae Turpin and Deuce Vaughn. If you get them going side to side, they're not fast enough or big enough to surprise people. Okay, you put little people who are quick and short area quick, that's their superpower. You put them behind a downhill rushing attack and let them find the holes. Make the defense guess and sift through all the traffic. If they're running sideways, it's much easier to track because they're in one spot. So it's a one-way go. When you have to stack, shed, and also dissect and try to track a guy who is the smallest man on the field, Deuce Vaughn and KaVontae Turpin, you got problems. So I don't think that I can say it any more emphatically than I did, I guess, a handful of times now. But the 2 different separate occasions that you saw on this clip, this YouTube video, clearly I'm very passionate about it. Okay, I believe very strongly in it, and the early signs so far are that we're going to get a lot more of it. So that's really cool. It should be a lot of fun to watch. But in the meantime, it's just going to be fun to track and keep tabs on this. And I hope that you've enjoyed this and have a bit of a new perspective, not just on KaVontae Turpin, but on a couple other guys, as well as new, fresh perspective on the evolution of the NFL. which is just one of the ways that I try to creatively convey the truth for the true fan, just like you. All right, I appreciate you continuing to help me grow, making the push to 5K, and I think we can definitely do that. All right, hit that like button for me to let other Cowboys fans know to join the 75,000 and counting across all platforms here, so that they know exactly where to find us too. All right, I'm Lando from the Lando Show. This is Sports Below the Surface, and I will talk to you guys soon. Remember that prayer changes things, and the war is already won.
Say, subscribe to the channel, please. Say, hook 'em horns. Say, go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys!
Say, woohoo! Say, talk to you soon.